Hi, LawPod listeners. Teaira here, the girl behind the scenes. And I'm just popping in with a cold open to let you know that today's episode is actually part 2 of last week's conversation. So if you haven't listened to last week's episode yet, I'll invite you to go back, give it a listen, and we'll see you back here soon. Welcome to Accountants Law Pod, where accounting professionals and law firms converge. Hosted by Lynda Artesani, Sarah Prevost, and Steve Libhart.
That's the thing. So we all grew out of that 80s, I think 80s, 90s.
70s and 80s where they went, oh my gosh,
hard.
everything must be fat-free, and our hair is falling out and our skin is melting off and we look terrible and our nails are breaking and we're all like, what is wrong with us? But also what we didn't see was what was going on up here. You've got to have those healthy fats. And so the protein and the healthy fats, if you can get focused on that, if you can learn to do a protein and vegetables on your plate with a really good healthy fat somewhere in there, you're golden. It's going to work.
Avocados. Oh my God. I love avocados.
Oh, I eat avocados a day. I love them.
Yeah. So, and when I start telling people, start eating avocados, it's like people want to hug me. It's like, yes, can I really do that? Yes, please do. But I'm also adamant against things that have saturated fat in them. And the world that we live in, people are like, I must eat coconut oil. No, you don't. Don't get anywhere near coconut oil. It's so loaded with saturated fat. So the oils that I recommend is that when you're doing oils, it's only avocado and olive oil. You got avocado for high smoke point and olive oil for everything else. So those are your 2 oils that you can live by. And Mediterranean, Sarah, when you said that, when anybody is looking, if they want guidance, I point them there. Every single time, because it's such a beautiful diet. It is
and it's delicious.
It is. It's delicious. Yeah. I have a friend last week who actually said, I'm doing Mediterranean, but I'm doing it with Italian spices because she grew up with Italian spices. So she's eating all the Mediterranean recipes, but she's using Italian spices. And I was like, you're brilliant. I love that. That was so good. So Steve, you had something. I'm sorry.
Well, no, that's okay. For those people in the audience who are like, single moms and they've got the kids at the house and their life is just packed full, and they have found this job that they can do from home, which is way cool, but they're sitting on their tail ends all day and their bodies are deteriorating and, they're tired all the time. Do you have a simple, easy start sort of thing that they, from like maybe a green tea and then getting up and walking around the house for 10 minutes or whatever sort of thing that they can do for clarity of their mind and stopping, and the breathing exercises that you have us all do and those things? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So I think probably one of the biggest things that you have to do, one of the things I tell people all the time is convenience and availability is what keeps us overweight, but it's also what keeps us on track. So if you look around and you go into your pantry and you go, okay, I have all these things that are available that are super quick and super easy and super bad, right? I don't love the word bad, but if I can go in the pantry and grab a bag of chips and come back into my office, right? So, or I am so tired, Steve, that's such a perfect example. I'm so tired in the afternoon. I'm just wearing out. So I'm going to go get myself that frou-frou coffee where Lynda said, we don't waste our calories on those things, right? I'm going to go get that coffee because that'll wake me up. No. We need water or we need green tea. We need something like that where you have that water at your desk that's whatever temperature you choose. Some people love ice cold, all of those things. But then having the availability, also just stopping for 1 minute and breathing through your nose and exhaling out your mouth. It is amazing how you can get yourself back centered. What I recommend to everybody that stays at their desk every day, especially if you live in the sun, but if you don't live in the sun, then still do this. Get up out of your chair and go outside and get the light on your face. You need vitamin D. For those of you who are sitting behind a desk all the time and you're getting anxious and you're getting overwhelmed, and overwhelm is the number one word. I think we get overwhelmed. Go outside and get sun on your face for just a couple of minutes. Steve, you and I talk about that all the time. You start your day a beautiful way. And if you can do that, but then if you can do it during your day, if you are really exhausted, you feel like I want you to look at your lunch. First of all, are you having a sandwich for lunch every day? How many white carbs are in your lunch? Because you will get that dragged down in the afternoon every single time if you're white carbing lunch. So if you're having crackers or you're not like your crackers, because I knew exactly what you were talking about. I love those crackers. And I'm a cottage cheese girl every day. So I get that.
Yeah, the top seed. And then the cottage cheese is funny because I talked to Madison, who's my nutritionist / everything. And she's like, what kind of cottage cheese? And I was in fat free. And she goes, no, you have to she had changed my yogurt, my Greek yogurt to fat yogurt. And she changed my cottage cheese to the one with the fat. And she goes, stop with the fat free.
Yes, ma'am.
Whole milk.
Another lunch.
I do all of that.
Yeah. Another lunch that's got like tuna and quinoa. And I can't remember what the other thing was. And she said, it tastes really good. And I forgot what you mixed it with. It might've been just a little olive oil. And she said, oh, it's so good. And I'm like, it doesn't sound good. No. Well, maybe it is. I haven't tried it, so I'm going to try it. But yeah.
I have several members who do hard-boiled eggs, tuna, and avocado as a salad. I mean, they like bend it up into like, and then put it on like a cracker or on celery or whatever. So, but I think getting the vitamin D, doing that, making sure, but if you're really struggling in the afternoon, don't reach for sweets. And again, going back to the convenience, fill your refrigerator with prepped. If you have to go, I'm all about making things easier for yourself. If you need to buy the veggie tray, if you need to buy the fruit tray, if you're not willing to put in the food prep that needs to be done with some of this, because that's really everybody's biggest complaint. I don't have time. I've got to work. So I'm not going to I'm going to peel carrots and all that. Then buy a veggie tray and have those things available. Look at what you're eating. Look at what you're drinking in the afternoons. If you're having even just coffee, which isn't necessarily the worst thing, but it doesn't do anything for you. Get your water and then just get up and get outside.
And move. Get up and move off away from your desk. Everybody who's listening, I hope you're walking or doing something fun while you're listening. That's when I listen to a lot of the podcasts. I mean, Sarah and I both follow the Huberman podcast. And Sarah, you want to describe that breath work that they said?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do it. I do it in tense moments too, where you do that double breath intake, where you go, yes, and then hold it, and then release.
It really, man, it just washes all that out.
Yeah, it just really helps. I was going to ask you, Steve. So your morning ritual, what is it?
My morning ritual for years. I raised koi.
I kind of want to join him.
I'll have it over one of these days. I raise koi fish, and I have a big pond in my backyard, and I do this year round. If it's in the winter, I wrap up in a blanket and go do it. I go outside and I put on Morning Has Broken, that song. And I listen to that song, and I watch the sun come up, and I watch the fish swimming around, and I have my coffee, and I tell myself it's going to be okay today. There's no problem too big and no problem too small, and you can only do so much. And I kind of try to, that's when I get my sunshine. And I try to just start the day that way and set the tone, and then it's so important. I make myself not make myself, but I honor myself by stopping for a good breakfast. That's the most important meal for me of the day, a teeny tiny lunch, and then a not so big dinner. And I stop, giving ourselves permission to stop. We're working with attorneys, you guys, and they all want what they want when they want it, but it's okay.
Yesterday.
It's okay not to answer. It's okay to say no. It's okay to even take that response, that email that ticks you off, that you have to answer them back and put it on the delayed response, so it gets sent to them at 2 a.m. And they think that, oh God, he was working on this at 2 a.m. I better go a little bit easier on him.
Or they're going to think they can get you at 2 a.m. You have to be careful of that. Or like Sarah said in her session, grab a Word doc, and if you want to really let them have it on the Word doc. Don't write it in the doc. Because you might accidentally send that little nugget.
But all these things that Prevost is talking about are gifts to ourselves.
Yeah. And one of my things, especially in the job that you guys were just talking about, number 1 and number 13 are really big in my Power of 13. Number 13 is pause and be mindful. And that goes to what we were just talking about. I've taught people who are in, just like, because we're so quick to answer. And if we're aggravated, it comes through. And so it's like, no, go ahead and type it, but then just pause for a minute, or just pause. And really, sometimes it's just asking yourself, what do I control in this situation? How can I handle this? Do I need to kill people with kindness, or do I need to let them have it? Because honestly, sometimes that's what you have to do. But pausing in your life and everything, pausing what goes in your mouth and what comes out of your mouth will change your life. That will change your life.
I so love that. I love that. It's so true of myself. Everything. You could do what I do sometimes, where you forgot your draft in there, and then you have to apologize for, oh my God, I left it in draft, which is honest to God, my problem sometimes. But I'd rather come from a place of clarity or speak more eloquently than come from a rapid speed response in an ill-timed moment, because that just creates more friction. So I just much rather keep that broad and open for myself. That's allowing me to have that time is what I'm doing there. It's just giving it back. But yeah.
I don't ever want to be a person who, after I've reacted, thinks to myself, wow, you are not a good person.
You know, what's really cool about Sarah is that you're an inspiration this way, Sarah. And you and I talked about this a little bit when you were in Denver and we recorded that one podcast. And I'm kind of like this too. You don't let people walk all over you.
Yeah.
You know, and if they're messing with your staff, that's like a mama bear having her cubs messed with.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's where you have to do those breathing things and slow down and go, okay, you know, it's okay to sit back and like you, Lynda, like you said, use that document, the Word document, and type it all out in there and then get it out of your system and go on with business.
Very cathartic. Type it. It's very cathartic just to go.
I know.
You're like, oh, this is what I want to say, but I probably have to.
I have the best creative teacher.
Here, Sarah, what can you fix this?
Sarah's the mama bear there.
Yeah, exactly. I had the best creative writing teacher when I was in high school because we were all teenagers, obviously. And she taught us to write it out, spell it out, say whatever you needed to say. And then this isn't the best thing to do, but now I still love it. And then light it on fire. And it was just the most cathartic, you know, it was like, yes, that's exactly right. So yeah. But again, you guys get to choose. And, you know, and I hear excuses all day long. I hear reasons reasons are just excuses. That's all they are, of why people are, you know, well, I'm at my desk all day long. Well, I don't have time. I don't have time. And you need 1 to 3 minutes, you guys. I gotta keep
1 to 3 minutes. That's a good tip.
Just get up. And then pausing is all about 5-4, that breathing that you were talking about, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's all it takes. And then you can, you know, and now reread the email and decide if it was, you know, because sometimes we just take things personally, don't we?
Well, when it's written, it tends to, I mean, it's not with the tone, the emotion. It comes with it. But you know, it's interesting. I wanted to ask you is in the patterns that you see for people. I mean, because we all have been in this, and I've kind of where I'm leading with this is I saw a post recently where someone said they were growing, they were, you know, becoming a bigger firm, and more people are saying bigger, better, or faster, hurry, or more and more and more is not sustainable. It's just not worth it. And caught me off guard was this woman posted back saying, yeah, I was on that trajectory and then I got cancer. And I realized that power of perspective. And so I'm curious in the excuse bucket, because I will do this myself. I'll just need 5 more minutes, and 5 more minutes turns into 25 and more, is when you're giving yourself that space. So are you establishing some sort of routine that's more obtainable to the individual? Is that kind of the ideas that you figure out what your best things are and when to do them, and you're aligning that wellness track to that? Or, I mean, because we sit all day.
Well, the interesting thing is, and when I'm talking to people, I'm like, okay, so tell me about your lifestyle. Well, I sit for 16 hours a day because I'm at my desk. Okay. Well, can you get up from your desk, or are you chained there? You know, so what will work for your lifestyle? I heard you guys talking about the specific diets that you follow, not diet. Please don't, I don't like that word, but you know, this is how I eat. This is what I do. But I'm a big scheduler, and I know that some people want to live in a spontaneous world. We all do, don't we? We want to be spontaneous like we were when we were 10 or teenagers, whatever. We went and did whatever we wanted to do. But in order to be successful, you have to plan things. You have to. So for instance, if you knew you had a meeting this morning from this time to this time, and then you have another meeting from this time to this time. And if you're finding that you're not having any time in between places, you have to rearrange. But if you start your day by saying, oh, you know what, I can get up and I can get outside for 10 minutes at this time, then you do that, but you schedule it.
Okay.
Right?
So that's the key.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Planning
Put
and
that on your
scheduling.
schedule. Yeah, right there, block
But
it.
then don't break it, because I am an over scheduler, or so I've been told, like I'm a super scheduler. And then sometimes I block out these sections of my calendar, but then I ignore it and then I
Yeah,
fill it.
exactly. Well, then I can get
Still
something else done because look, I have all that time. And you're like, no,
Yeah.
that's not it this time. Well, and COVID did some things to us that I watched happen with a lot of people, and I coached a lot of people through it. Was we started, well, I don't have to get in my car, so I'll just start work earlier,
Yeah.
but then also I'm not driving home, so I'll work later. But it wasn't that we needed those hours. It's that we became much less efficient.
Yes.
Right. So we're like, oh, but I can do that later. Oh, I can do that later. Here we are at 10:30 at night going, so how can I be more efficient? I'm going to use my calendar and I'm going to put this, and this. If you had a doctor's appointment and somebody called and said, hey, I need to talk to you at this time, and you would say, no, I have a doctor's appointment. If something's on your schedule, you can just say, no, I'm busy. They don't need to know that you're just going outside for 15 minutes to go and breathe and get your air.
True.
Nobody needs to know that.
Oh,
I'm busy. I'm booked. I'm busy at that time. But if you guys are like a lot of people where people can fill in your calendar for you, you need to fill in your calendar, right?
Well, yeah, no, I pulled back. I mean, I feel I'm naturally of late been feeling extremely overwhelmed between the personal and the business life and all the other commitments that we have going on. And I just said, no more appointments. I'm done. I'm the type of person, I can be so outward, so external and love it and enjoy it. But I have to be, I just have to pull back.
You do.
It's just my personality.
And the thing is as you said, with that person who posted about cancer, so many of us, I ask people, what's it going to take? Is it going to take for you to get sick? I have so many people who work and work and work, or, they just go, they have to fill every hour. Lynda, like you said, I feel like, there's an open hour. Oh gosh, what can I do with it? How about if you just go sit on the front porch and enjoy your day for a few minutes? Oh no, there's things I should get done. I should probably
This
do
is why she's such an inspiration to me. You really are, Lynda.
Yes.
I just
boundaries.
I love
Number.
Yes. You know who you have to be true to so that you can take care of everybody else, and you're good at that.
Oh, thanks, Steve. I actually for me mentally, it's kind of a mental thing, and I'm fortunate. I live on the East Coast. Sarah is not as fortunate being on the West Coast. She's pushed all the time to start at ungodly hours where I have the gift of the morning, and she really has the gift of the evening. If she wanted to schedule it that way, she could push it there, but it's harder in the afternoon.
It's harder at night.
You're wiped out by that point. So the morning is the best time. And we have to figure that out so that she has the gift of the morning too, because I have to tell you, some of our mornings start off not so hot. And I think that can drive your day, right? If you're already aggravated and quite frankly pissed off, it doesn't set the tone very well for the rest of the day. And I'm not pissed off with her. I'm just pissed off.
Yeah, just the general tone of what's happening. Yeah, no, I feel you. I mean, it's that balance. I know, Steve, you start really early.
I do.
And personally, I like the mornings. The demands of a family life means I have to stay up late. So there's that balance. And I have found with my Oura ring, it's told me recently my sweet spot is like right at the 6 and something, almost 7 hours. I find myself, I get more sleepy and less energy if I've allowed the expansion of time to sleep some more. I don't re-energize that way. It's the weirdest thing. So, but I can allow myself, like you take a nap, I think, Steve.
I do.
You do. Yeah. Sometimes I could do that. Sometimes
it's a wonderful gift to give yourself.
It's the gift. Yeah. And some you can reset and some you can't, but I'm just trying to figure, I think what Paris is saying is that you learn from, like, the technology is helping us learn. Yeah. These little pieces are helping us learn. So I'm like, okay, where am I? The first thing I do is look at my Oura ring. I'm like, okay, what's that number? Was it okay? Where did I fall on the thing?
Oh my God, I have to get one now.
There's a lot of data. There's a lot of data in that thing. Like mine, since the stress of a lot of things, my heart rate is elevated when I sleep for some reason. I usually get like little crowns on my head, and I'm not getting them because I get the crown for the time, but I'm not getting the crown for it. Well, I definitely didn't get it while we were in conference, but since I've been home, I'm not getting the crown because my heart rate's elevated, which is why I went back to doing the sauna blanket and back to doing meditation, because that will put that down and it makes you feel better. And you forget
about breathing. What is a sauna blanket?
Ooh.
I want to get one for Sarah. I don't know if she'd use it, but it's a blanket, and
Well, in the winter.
You plug it in, and I mean, I live in Florida, I still use it. You plug it in, it gets nice and hot. You slide into that thing, you lay in it for 20 minutes. I'm telling you, break a really big, heavy sweat
Oh my
because it
God.
gets really hot.
I have
And
to get one.
they're like $400, but I love that thing. And then if it's winter time in Florida, I'll leave that and I'll jump into the pool for a cold dip. But right now my pool's like 95 degrees, so that's not effective. But yeah, I'll do that, which is hard to do for me. But that's supposed to help with like losing weight or something. I haven't quite figured that out. I'm not a believer in that theory, but there's a lot of stats on that's a good thing to get the cold blast of water or something. But I just don't like it. I hate being cold. Anybody knows me knows I hate being cold.
I know those guys that get it. It does reduce injury. It does do. I mean, I know ice is so good for you, and it does, reduces injury, does all the things. But that sauna blanket sounds just like heaven. Because I used to go to the infrareds all the time.
Let's go shopping.
I know, right? Sauna.
Usually, you've already bought stuff by the time we're done talking. He's like, if he hears things in the meetings, he's like, "Oh, I got that. I already bought it. That's fine. It's good."
I can give you the link. I can tell you. I'll give it to Teaira to put it in the show notes. But I love that thing, and it was like $400. It's an investment, and it is infrared. And you just slide into it. I even got the little mask that you put on your face every once in a while. It's infrared on your free skin. So you can do both at the same time. It's kind of a spa treatment, but it makes me feel calm. And I like being hot and warm. And anybody who's ever roomed with me knows I like it to be warm. So
we did pretty well considering.
We managed. I'm surprised. I was a little worried.
Yeah. I know. I like cold.
I did sleep in my sweatshirt one night though.
Yeah, I know my body temp. I mean, when I saw the Oura ring, I saw my body temperature is up, and then I realized all the reasons why.
I'm with Lynda.
Oh, okay.
I'm with Lynda.
I think the biggest thing for us too is that we consciously cut out alcohol.
Yes, that's huge for sleeping.
And it's been huge for sleeping, and it's less about. It's so much more clarity. It doesn't even the effects like it wasn't the intention for weight loss for me. It had more other things to do with it, but the effects of it, what really have transformed my thought process around it. I still have my coffee. I admit I have to have my
coffee. But coffee I don't think is bad for you, but I agree with you, Sarah. I mean, that alone helped improve my sleep like by tenfold.
Yeah.
I didn't funny because the technology is what tells you that. Most people who have cocktails will instantly tell you that, I sleep so much better on those nights, but they help me fall asleep. And but then you're like, oh no, you didn't sleep at all. But Sarah, what you said about technology, it's funny because I deal with two different kinds of people. Okay. Some people love all of that. I live with a man, my husband of 35 years. I live with him, and every time that because we have sleep number beds, so he can go in and see exactly how he slept. Well, if he looks at that in the morning and it shows that he slept like crap, then he's tired all day. If he doesn't look at it, then he doesn't. So that's, so you look before you go to bed, or if you're, if he already feels tired. But sometimes when you see it, you're like, oh no, I slept really good. And then you see that you had a 42 and you're like, oh no, I slept terrible. I need a nap. So technology works different for people. It's, it's the same thing with steps. If you're getting out and you're getting your 30 minutes of activity, which is what is really, truly required, but then you're hearing, I've got to get 10,000 steps a day, and you walk for 30 minutes and you get 4,000 steps, then you're like, I'm a failure.
That's what I like about what you said in the beginning, and I really appreciate it because it's what's for you works for you. And I've always been a big stacking works for me. Walking I don't even look to see like exactly if I'm close. I'll power through, right? But really, it's just like, okay, that's what it was today. My measure is not the external measure. My measure is internal for me, and I like that you brought that up in the beginning because you brought up the whole variance, like some it works, some it doesn't. You have to go back. I mean, it's the whole.
And rather than, we have people in our groups who will suggest something, right? So somebody says, hey, you know what, try this, do this. And we're like, oh yeah, I'm absolutely going to do that. And then you'll try it. And then they're unsuccessful. So instead of going, well, that didn't work for me, they're like, oh, I'm a failure. I can't do it that way. You don't have, let's find out what your easiest way is. And I'm such a big believer in that. The other thing is really honestly, what they say that the average person should get every day in steps is 7,500, not 10 grand. But so many of us are like, but we've been trained that Colorado was the first ones to say you have to get 10K steps a day. Colorado and their, they
Blue
have all
Cross
their
did
rules.
that too. Blue Cross said 10,000. It came
So
from some study
10,000.
that somebody picked that random number, and
I always feel like it was just so easy, but what they're really telling you is 6,000 to 7,500 steps per day is a healthy, which goes along with that 30 minutes of movement,
and
right?
that's
Moving in 35. So you don't, and again, you said 10,000 to 12,000 works for me. That gets that's good for my brain. That's good for my body. That's what works for me. Well, you don't quit that because somebody said, well, you only have to get 6,000. No, I'm going to keep, and we're always needing to better ourselves. We need to better ourselves, not compete, although that's what we're good at. I heard you guys. We're all good at that. But having the workout buddy or having somebody to talk through, that's where, we love our support groups. We love our one-on-one. I'm all about accountability. I don't think anybody can do it by themselves. They've got to have somebody to bounce things off of. And, it helps. It just,
I like getting my confetti on Pacer. So I literally, if I'm on 5,000 steps, I will literally walk around. I'll walk around my bedroom to get to 7,000 till I get to when I go to bed. If I'm not far away, I'm like, oh God, I didn't get my steps in. I'm literally walking around my bedroom trying to get the
I forgot something. I need to go I'm going to go. I just want to down the hallway with my toothbrush in my mouth because aren't you so devastated if you wake up in the morning and you look at your watch to see, oh, you know what? I was yesterday. I was at 9950.
Oh, that'll kill me. That would have killed me.
Here comes Lynda's
never
truth.
doing that again.
I love the competition of it because I compete against myself with that stupid app because I put 7,000 and I was actually thinking I might tick it up a little bit, but I put 7,000 in and I usually walk to the gym and then do my workout and walk back. But some days time doesn't let me do that. I'll just walk around the house like you're saying, and it's so hot here. Not gonna lie.
I know. And that's it. I mean, there are times if I don't get my walk in first thing in the morning, I'm going to walk around my house. It's boring as all get out, but I'm getting my steps. So
sure. Wow.
I like that tip though. I'm going to keep that in my mind every half hour. We could walk 5 minutes every half hour. I mean,
what I use is the Pomodoro technique. Have you guys heard of that?
Oh yeah.
I love that timer because it starts out giving you 5 minutes every half hour. And then by the middle of the day, you get a half hour. You've built into a half hour. And it makes me stop and go, oh, I got to get up and walk. I got to go put the laundry in the washer, whatever you're doing to move, it works.
And the other thing is I'm going to add that on again, 1 or 2 times a day, you need to get on the floor and get off. So can I just tell you this, Sarah, because I've been watching that baby and it's just cracking me up.
Oh,
so
this guy here.
So one of the things I tell people all the time, because stretching is one of my power of 13s. I think I've said pretty most all of them, but stretching on purpose for 10 to 15 minutes a day. The best way to do that, especially is if you have children or you have a pet or you have a cat. The cats, the dogs, they stretch all the time. If you stretch every time somebody else does in your house, you will get that stretching in so easy. We raised greyhounds, or we had greyhounds, and greyhounds are big stretchers because they have so much muscle. So they're always stretching. You stretch all day long if you watch your animals. They just, because when they get up, they stretch. Babies are the same way. They're constantly stretching. Yeah. So but you need that stretch.
I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and especially if you're sitting in the chairs. I know. See, there you go. Everyone needs to stretch. That baby just
stretched.
Oh, Walter.
He's so long. He's so funny. But I did watch. Yeah, this guy is funny. I did watch one day. It was like when you yawn. Well, I felt like what happened was it was just in a row, all 4 of them. I call them my Muppet.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
They all had that on video. Dog moment, and I thought, shoot, I should have grabbed it because they were literally contagious. It was hilarious, but they were all hanging out. And I thought,
and when you start paying attention to it, you start seeing them. You will be stretching all day long. It's amazing. It's so good.
Great tip. I love that. Man,
well, Steve, I got to tell you picked a good one to bring onto our show.
Yeah,
fantastic.
I have 3 of my favorite people here right now.
You're so
everybody,
Sarah's here,
and everybody who's listening, you can actually hire Paris because she works on Zoom, so it works globally. And Teaira brought a heart. So Paris, how can anybody find you that's been listening? It's like, I want to do this now. I want to get in the group so I can have that accountability.
Yes, absolutely. So I believe Teaira is going to put me in the notes, but I did everything in a link tree. So it's just Linktree, tr.ee/AOYS Paris. So, and there you can find my website. You can find me on Facebook. You can follow me on Instagram. You can do all those things. And then you'll also, if you sign up for my newsletter, which is just something that comes out of the website, you'll get all the notices when the book goes live. So we're very excited. We are so excited about the book. And then the future for us with our book, our plan is to be doing 12-week courses that will follow the workbook. And I plan to try to do those in live somewhere live, but also on virtual. I want to be able to do those in virtual, but it'll be a 12-week course that you sign up for. So I'm very excited about that. That's coming in 2024. That needs to be.
And that'll be something people can follow. Even if they can't make the meetings with you, they could follow online on their own and just kind of make their way through.
Well, they can definitely do that with the book, but with the course, that'll be coursework that you will sign up and you'll be there for all 12 weeks. Hopefully that's the goal, is to get, and I plan to roll that out, or roll the first one out in January of 2024, because you know how January is. The second week of January, believe it or not, the second week of January, the first 2 weeks of January, people always say they're doing stuff, but they don't start until the third week of January, which is the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Wow.
But in all of my experience, I've seen, people don't start the first. They're thinking about it. They think about it. And then around January 14th, people go, oh, I need to get those goals going.
They contact all of us and say, are my books done? And we're like, well, we've been asking you for 5 months for that.
Yeah, so you guys know it. It's the weirdest thing. Everybody has their time. So so that's the plan for that. But the book should be out mid-August, and we'll be able to get it through Amazon, but also, so
we'll have to have you back then.
It's just Sparks or something. So
we'll have to have you back for whatever you want to do. That would be so much fun. I'm on your Instagram already, and I'm like, okay, I see the front cover, the idea of Power of 13. So it's exciting. And got some good things.
It'll be August before you know it.
I know, right? Exactly. I know. She told me the formatter, and I'm hoping, and then we're going to actually, Steve, just for our groups and for one-on-one coaching, I am going to do a book launch at my parents' clubhouse. So everybody.
I'm in. I'll be there.
So everybody that is already part of my groups and everything, you guys will get it first. So I'm very excited to be able to introduce that as well.
That's fantastic.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And
you guys, thank you for having me. Steve, thank you for inviting me.
Of course.
Yeah.
Please stick around for a few more minutes here while Lynda does the closing.
So for everybody listening, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you buy Paris's book when it comes out in August. If you enjoyed the podcast, we'd love you to subscribe to our podcast and also our YouTube channel if you want to see our lovely faces. And if you have any questions or topic requests, we would love for you to just send them to us. We have the email is info@accountantslawpod.com, or you can send us a message through our website, and it's theaccountantlawpod.com. And we didn't really talk much about our Accountants Law Lab group, but we do have a mastermind group where we train other bookkeepers and accountants how to do the work with attorneys and law firms. And that's theaccountantlawlab.com, LAB. And if you want to follow Steve along in his journeys in the Zia stream, you can just come onto our website on the Accountants Law Pod for updates to know where he is. Where are you now, Steve? Are you still in Wyoming?
I'm at the International Airstream Rally in Rock Springs, Wyoming. Today's the last day. We've been here for a week, and it's been absolutely stupendous. I just loved this. We did a lot of charity work for the folks of Rock Springs. We gave away thousands and thousands of dollars to Forest Service for trails, to people who have, chronic diabetes and cancer and all kinds of things. And it just filled my heart up to be a part of what this group does. I love it.
That's fun. That's wonderful. Nice. So, and you can also follow us on Instagram. So, on that note, we all hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll see you all next week. Bye now.
Bye-bye.